One's ready. One's ready. Go!
Hey, before we hop into this next episode with AG, make sure you go over and check out Attacklead. You can find their site by going to onesready.com, heading over to the top right-hand side and hitting prep. Drop down to partner discounts and then scroll down to Attacklead. You can click on any of those links and get yourself any kind of gear, like high-volume masks, Alice rucks, GPS watches, rocket fins, booties, ropes, anything like that you need to train for BUDS, Air Force Special Warfare Pipeline, the Green Beret Pipeline, Special Forces Assessment and Selection, Ranger School, or if you just want to get better, check them out. And the way you get that discount code, though, is that you've got to go to our site and you click on that link and it'll pop up a generated promo code. Plug that in, get yourself a discount. Now, enjoy this episode with Toehold Flip-Flop, founder, CEO, and just all-around great dude, AG. He's got a wild story, and he actually starts talking about some of the business stuff. So if you fancy yourself an entrepreneur, this is probably the one for you. And also check out their flip-flops because they're pretty kick-ass. And the marketing for it, well, if you follow them on Instagram, it is not safe for work and probably not safe for you to open up around your girlfriend or your wife. So, all right, Aaron, take it away.
So no formal intro. You guys already got the intro for AG, my good friend here. He's got one of the most amazing stories. So he is, a herpetologist, a snake farmer? Is that the correct?
Snake breeder.
Snake breeder? Okay,
Yeah.
so I've just been absolutely awestruck. I'm fanboying a little bit, but sitting down with my friend here, AG from Toehold. I'll let you introduce yourself. You got a great story.
Yeah, my name's AG. I own two companies. One of them, we make the best flip-flops in the world. And the other one, we breed the best snakes in the world.
Right. Yeah, I can't believe it. You talked about, some of the, I had an indoctrination, we should say, into this snake room where you were telling me about genetics and breeding and all these other things. I had no clue that the snake game was that deep.
I can go so deep into it. It's super crazy. I mean, obviously the flip-flop company is what everybody knows us for. But on the side, late at night when all the models are gone and, I'm talking to customers overseas, I'll go and check on the snakes, feed them, breed them, like run through the genetics and stuff like that. But it's crazy. So with like dogs, for example, you're always trying to keep this purebred, which doesn't really make sense to me because that dog used to be a wolf and then you've brought it from a wolf to what it is now. They're trying to keep these genetics exactly the same. With what we're doing, we're trying to produce the world's firsts.
Right.
So you're taking like a tiny little morph in nature. Maybe this snake they're all brown. Maybe this one is a smidge more orange, a smidge, like only a autistic fucking psycho can notice, right? And then you breed that small piece of orange out of that snake. 20 years later, you're like, damn, this snake is super orange. Right? Then you introduce that into a bunch of different genes, and now you got a snake that's black, orange, red, and then you're changing the pixelation on it. And this one has a different like head stamp. There's some of them that have like what look like scuba goggles on their face. I got one I'll show you afterwards. We call him Four Eyes because he has his real eyes on his head, but then he has two eyes on the top that look like eyes also. So when he's laying flat, you're looking at him from above. He looks like he's looking up at you, but his eyes really go sideways. So it's like fake. It's like a fake eyes, fake mask. And then people who are into snakes all around the world, it's crazy. So if you wanted to create a snake, a world's first, it can take decades to do.
Mm-hmm.
So the value of the snakes are astronomical because you can't, like if you wanted one, you're paying for 10, 20 years worth of time. So you pay 20 grand, 30 grand, 65. There's $65,000 snakes online.
$65,000 danger noodle.
You're right.
Just absolutely. Yeah. Like the nope rope is just highly valuable.
And they're beautiful living art. That's what they are. And similar to koi fish, like people go crazy over koi fish. Like, why is this koi $20,000? Well, it's because it's genetically perfect the way it looks and the coloration and all that type of stuff. And with snakes, it's the same way. And then with this particular species, like the ball python, they're very low maintenance.
Okay.
They're from like sub-Saharan Africa. So they're a nocturnal snake and they live in termite mounds and in burrows all day. So they're always in the dark. So they live in these dark tubs. You pull them out, you play with them for a little bit. They tolerate you.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to see you. It's not like a puppy. You got to be like, oh, shit, I got to get home and see my snakes. They don't want anything to do with you. So if we jumped on a plane and left for a week, they're perfectly fine.
They're just totally good.
Low maintenance.
As long as they got some food.
It's the best pet. And then once a week, you get to throw like a big rat in there and watch this rat get murked.
Right.
It's awesome.
I always think of the movie. You remember the movie Road Trip?
Mm-hmm.
Where Tom Green is going to feed the snake.
Yeah.
And he drops the mouse in there and he's like, you going to fucking eat him? I always picture that. Like, snakes do not care about you. They're just there to vibe out. They're totally good.
They tolerate you at best. But some of them have personalities. They do. Like, there's some of them are mean. Some of them are cool. We got some of them that hang out in the front. Some of them hang out in the back. Some of them will curl up in their water bowl. Some of them bury themselves. And they do the same thing day after day.
Right.
So for living art, if you want to just go pick something up and just stare at it and just be like, this is just a thing of beauty, but then put it away and have a low maintenance pet, even koi, like you got to have a pond filtration system. There's a lot that goes into that. This is a way better pet.
But you didn't, like, you haven't always been a snake breeder. You just recently got into it. What in the world would drive you away from, I mean, the flip-flops are amazing. I can't believe, like, you know, just your talk in the shop teaching me about different leathers and stuff. It blew my mind. I have no idea of how we make it, obviously, here on station, but you already had this successful thing. Some of the biggest names in the game, Gordon Ryan, you know, Toehold, and all these other folks that are just in on this game. What in the world would make you just decide to go to snake breeding?
I'm just fucking weirdo, bro. It might be one of those things when you just hook up with a bunch of hot chicks. After a while, you just start getting into
weirder and weirder stuff, right?
We always joke about that. Me and Sam Tripoli, we joke about that. Like,
shout out to the Tinfoil Hat podcast.
Right?
Love Sam.
Like how weird people in Hollywood get.
Yeah,
I was like, maybe that's my weird thing. Is like I'm into breeding snakes. But they're just
you're just gonna try out some weird stuff and see if it sticks.
How often can you do something where you're like one of the first in the world?
Yeah,
there's not a lot of things you can do. So, like in that room, we're going to produce snakes worth astronomical amounts of money.
Right.
But the money side, we already make good money. I'll hold a snake in my hand that's the first one a human's ever seen, and we'll do that multiple times before I die. And like, how many times can you do that? It's
never.
It's rare. There's not a lot of things that you can do in this life where you're the first person to ever do it.
That's legacy.
Or to see it. So
yeah,
I think that's what's really has me drawn to it is how unique it is. And nobody and if you want to beat somebody else at it, like other guys who are in a snake breeding, it's a really cool community. I can't be faster than you, but I can be more efficient. Like a snake's going to grow at the speed it grows, and it's going to breed at the speed it breeds, and the eggs are going to hatch and incubate. All that stuff is going to happen at the speed in which nature designs. But you can like optimize little tiny things to make that be the shortest possible amount of time while keeping everything healthy.
Right. As you're talking here, like obviously both jiu-jitsu athletes and heavy into into the jiu-jitsu world and stuff. When you're talking about, you might not be faster than somebody, but you can be more efficient. You can get to a position first. Do you think that you just always had that something inside of your head, and that's where that's why you're attracted to these things? Like first flip-flops ever, the most, looking up here, the most expensive flip-flops that have ever been created, and your pursuit of these endeavors. Do you think that that's always just something that you're striving for?
It definitely wasn't something I've always been like, because I was super shitty as a kid and a teenager. I was so bad.
Really?
I was so bad. Yeah, I should be doing life sentences in prison multiple times over for some of the shit we did growing up. But as an adult, I just always had a pride in doing really good work. So even when like I was young and being, we're all assholes when we're kids.
Every single one of us.
If I was going to be a bad kid, I was going to be the best at being. Right? If I was going to fuck off in school,
I was going to go all the way. All gas, no brakes. If I'm going to be bad at it, I'm going to be the best bad kid in the class.
But the crazy thing is, out of all the things I like that I do, if there's one thing that had to categorize that I'm the best at, would be scuba diving.
Really?
That's the thing I'm the best at.
Why are you the best at scuba diving?
Well, it's best as far as like what my skills are. It's not making flip-flops. It's not making content. It's not growing companies. It's not snake breeding. Just growing up in the water, being around the ocean the whole time, and then just the passion to just go explore a world that a lot of people have never seen before. Yeah,
it's crazy. So we're like, obviously everybody out there knows, but for the folks that are coming in from AG's huge following, I'm a dive supervisor. I've got I've dove in, Norway and ice diving, and I'm Iceland. I've got a couple guys out there. It's scary as shit. And you know what the funny thing about me too is like you look at me and you're like, oh, you must love doing all this stuff in your off time. No, I don't. Shit's terrifying. I don't have a single jump after I got, you know, I'm a free fall jump master and done some pretty scary stuff, you know, jumping with tons of equipment from 25,000 feet. Miss me, dude. That stuff is terrifying. Cave diving, you know, ice diving, rescue diving.
I don't fucking get cave diving at all. It might be the dumbest thing humans do.
You know, I have a rule. If it kills the people top in your sport, like when you look at free climbers and they're talking, or like
base jumpers,
wingsuit flyers, cave divers. If it kills the people in the world that are the best at it, you can fucking miss me. Dog. I'm out.
Andy, and my boy Andy Stump, he's free dive or base jumper.
Oh yeah, he had the 7 and 7.
And he was like, the top, I think I could be misquoting it, but he's like the top 60 guys who invented base jumping are all dead. All dead. But cave diving, here's the thing with cave diving. You go to the entrance of the cave and you look in and what do you see? Rocks, right?
Right.
And then you go a little bit further in and what do you see? Rocks.
Rocks.
And then you go back a mile and what do you see?
More rocks.
You fucking that into rocks?
Like, what do we go? I had one of the best dives of my life in Cancun, and it was drift diving. Literally, like I'm great at like buoyancy compensation. Obviously, I had a lifetime of skills behind me. Drift, I literally sat there with my arms crossed. I didn't kick one time. I got up. I had like 1,000 psi. All these other like these people at this resort had like 200, 300. We had to come up, and they're like, "Holy cow, what'd you do?" I was like, "I didn't have to do."
You're absolutely right. 30 feet, clear water, warm. Drift diving,
clear in a million. It was hilarious. I literally just sat there. I was nice and warm. It was gorgeous. I was just chilling.
People try to do weird. I think what they do is they want to go. They want to be interesting, and they want at the end of the day they just want to get some pussy. So they're trying to do shit so they can go to the bar and be like, "Bro, I'm a cave diver. Bro. I go 300 feet deep." You're like, bro, 300 feet sucks. There's nothing down there. Tell me the lobster you got at 300 feet.
You're breathing mixed gas. It's terrible. Like the whole thing.
It's just nerd shit. When we go on like dive boats, we have this game where we're like, all right, who are we going to save today? Like someone's getting saved. And it's not a cocky thing. Like we've done it countless times.
Right.
And we were off Point Loma and this fucking just gear queer dude had this rebreather for no reason. We're like fucking 27 feet in the kelp patties. Right?
What are you doing? You infilling, bro? Like what are you? Oh, great. You got no bubbles. You can sneak up on fish. Who cares?
So fucking weird. But the first dive he didn't get in because his equipment was malfunctioning.
Of course.
The second dive, we're doing a surface interval. So he jumps in first because he doesn't have the surface interval.
Right.
He's messing with his gear. I got my wetsuit around my waist. I'm telling some fucking story to my buddies. I look over, the dude's just fucking on the surface, but just face down.
Oh, great. Good.
So I was like, all right, hang on. I jump in, I fucking grab him, and his equipment's filling like that what are those things called? Fucking draggers, but the whole the whole like,
if water gets in there, you're fucked.
Closed circuit.
Yeah.
It starts bubbling up full of water. He's out. So I grab him. He's in the fucking kelp. It's a big mess. And I'm trying to swim him back with my wetsuit around my waist. He's wrapped in fucking kelp. And I'm like, this motherfucker. And then we get him back to the boat. The dive master on board lifts him up. And at the very last second, like as we're lifting him into the boat, he kicks my sunglasses off my head. They're like these super nice. Back in the day, they were like, what the fuck were they called? Oil cans, I think. Like oil cans or oil barrels. They were like the Nicky Hayden edition.
It's oil cans, yeah.
He kicked them off my head. His fin kicked them off my head. And I was like, that motherfucker. I was so pissed.
Oh, my God.
He lived. Like, we got on the boat. He was like the suds were coming out of his nose and his ears and stuff just from aspirating salt water. But it's always a guy like that. Always. Some dude fucking geared out. You know what I mean? And like the best diver on the boat, one of my buddies just has old shit from the 70s. It's probably never been viz before. He has a weight belt on.
Right.
So dudes like to weird out on the gear.
Right. I always love looking at these people like, online influencers and stuff. And they got, $7,000 worth of tactical gear. I call those guys loot drops. Because if the shit ever goes down, you don't do any cardio. You don't do any fighting. You don't do any tactical training. I'm just going to take all your shit. When the shit hits the fan, I'm going to be like, oh, look, a loot drop. Here, let me take all of this stuff. Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to take what I need in my very leaned out kit, and I'm going to call it good and go on with life.
I'll post a picture of a gun online. It's just a basic, like, Gen 5 Glock, Glock 17, like Generation 5 or 5th Gen, whatever.
I got a nice one right over there.
Just basic. That's it. Like, bro, you should run this and this. And I was like, why? I don't give a fuck.
I got my red dot on my Glock 5. I had my good friend Creighton over at Scout Arms who built it for me. I told, like, when I retired, I was like, hey, man, I want a Princess competition gun. I want it ported. I want it flat. I want all this stuff. Mm-hmm. I was like, but bare bones it. I was like, make it a 1-of-1, throw a red dot on there. I was like, I want something that I could run because I shot a Glock in my career. Yeah.
I'm really in the system. So things that make sense. And even with jiu-jitsu, with like the tactical training, all that type of stuff, there's this willingness, there's this thing people do where they want to prepare for something, but it's how willing and how quick are you to just do something, like your reaction time. That to me is way more important. You know what I mean? Like growing up in San Diego, we grew up in a really like tough neighborhood. It was all like Mexican gangs. No black people were around. It was like a few white guys, just all Mexican gangs. So we got in fights all the time. Yeah. Not a tough guy, nothing like that. But I started doing jiu-jitsu at 13. And at 13, I was able to choke people unconscious and stuff like that. And just having a quick willingness to fight or to react is so much better than like some of the tactical training people see. Oh, yeah. You know, I don't usually carry my pistol with me. I carry a knife, but I don't carry a pistol. But I have a bunch of buddies that are super tacked out and stuff. I'm like, listen, bro, if something happens, you're not going to do anything. I know how you are. Right. You're not going to do anything.
I already know exactly what's going to go down. It's hilarious when you watch those altercations too. Like, you know, the famous one that just dropped, it was like, you know, a couple weeks ago, some guy at a protest, you know, gets slapped and the guy just happens to be a jiu-jitsu brown belt. Mm-hmm. And it's the second he lays hands on him, I was like, nope, you're done. I can just see it. Simple inside trip, simple mount, simple control into a triangle. It's like the thing that Bruce Lee said, you know, I'm not afraid of a guy that has 10,000 different kicks. I'm afraid of the guy that's practiced one kick 10,000 times and is willing to engage that space.
It's true with jiu-jitsu. If you're just good at a few things and you're really good at them and you get me in your game and I don't have a lot of reps defending that,
it's over.
You're going to get fucking got.
And it's the worst. Like big guys like you, I'm always on like, it's always a feeling in my head where I end up in like deep half or I end up in somebody's like, you know, side control and I can feel them working their game. And it's obvious that this is a game that they've worked way more than me. And I'm just like, oh, this is going to be bad.
Like, oh, I'm in a trap.
This is going to be bad. The worst is when you move your hand somewhere and you're like, oh yeah, I can totally do this. And then they immediately react to it. And you're like, oh, I was supposed to put my hand there. Oh, this is not going to be good.
So I got a black belt from, Coach Casey Halstead and from Henry Akins. Mm-hmm. And Henry Akins is just he's not even a fucking human being. He's so good at jiu-jitsu that no matter how long you've been training, how good you are, how long you've been a black belt, you go and you train with Henry and you're like, I fucking suck. Dude.
I'm terrible at this.
It's like everything's a trap, bro.
I wish I could remember his name. We were training up in Colorado. It's Will's Brothers or something brothers in Colorado. And I roll with a black belt there, right? So I'm usually a game opponent because of my lifetime of fitness and all this other stuff. I'm a little bit bigger for jiu-jitsu guys, right? So I have a 200-pound guy that actually has cardio. Right, exactly. So I'm always a game opponent, but what that makes me is a feeder fish. You know what I mean? Like I've been rolling for about 20 years, but I'm on like the 25-year black belt program because deployments and switching gyms and stuff, there's natural delays and stuff. So, you know, in the real talk of the world, I'm a 3-stripe purple belt. But even as a blue belt, they were inviting me to like the black belt only competition classes because I'm a feeder fish. Yeah. I can hit 5 rounds all the time. I'm there. I'm game.
It's funny you said I feel the same way. I feel like I'm a mid-level purple belt.
Bro, that's, you know what I mean? I don't have
any business having a black belt.
Absolutely. Well, I do not, but I feel like a blue belt, you know, a couple stripe blue belt. But I was rolling with this black belt, and the speed at which he would prosecute his attacks was about a quarter speed. He was not going fast at all, and there was absolutely nothing I could do. I was a helpless child as he just wrapped me up. And that was one of
my life.
Yeah. It's one of those first times that, you know, you realize there's levels to this game. And when people like Gordon Ryan or when people like, you know, Mikey Musumeci or all these other guys, they come up and you're like, oh, there's levels, 2 levels. Yeah. And I am nowhere in it. It's like a different world.
And then you start, you know, with those guys, you start dealing with the autism. You're like, oh, fuck, dude. Their entire
just brain, a little bit of tism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like their entire brain, not those particular guys, but guys that are autistic. Like their entire brain is dedicated to just jiu-jitsu. Like after training, they don't even remember where they parked their fucking car.
No.
You know what I mean? Like I have all kinds of
They can't order at the you know, they can't even order their acai bowl correctly.
But, or interview or do a good interview. But fuck, dude, if that guy touches you, you're dead.
Right. So how did you get into the toehold game, man? Like obviously the snake thing is super crazy. I could talk about that for the entire hour.
The snake thing's just my hobby. But the funny thing with the snakes is it's the only thing I've been into since I started toehold like 8 years ago. Like I'm psychotically obsessed about everything. Even like if I'm hanging out with a chick and she has huge tits, I'm thinking about fucking toehold the whole time. The whole time. I'm psychotically obsessed. That autism we were just talking about.
Yeah.
I have that when it comes to toehold. It's all I care about. And then a little bit about the snakes.
Right. So what came first, the chicken or the egg? Was it your psychotic obsession to do these things? Did you ever like we talked about how, you leaned into even being bad or even being, a miscreant running around San Diego fighting with Mexican gangs and stuff.
Yeah.
What came first, the chicken or the egg? Was it that psychotic obsession that helped you into Toehold, or did you find a mission in Toehold?
I had a little bit of the psychotic obsession with stuff, but it definitely evolved with Toehold.
Okay.
But so the way it worked was I was hiking in San Diego and a pair of flip-flops I had broke. The thong pulled out.
Right.
We've all experienced that. But growing up in flip-flops or growing up in San Diego, we wore flip-flops everywhere. So on a hike, on a hunt, like that's always what's on my feet. Even if it gets cold, it doesn't matter. I'm wearing flip-flops. I'll layer everything else first. It's cold, I'll put on a beanie. It's cold, I'll put on a jacket, I'll gloves, sweatpants, and then the last thing that I'll cover up is my feet.
Is actual shoes.
Last thing, yeah. I'll even put socks on first, But they broke, and I was like, fuck, dude, these things always break. So right after that, I was sent over to Okinawa as a contractor. We trained Marines how to escape from crashed helicopters in the water, amphibious rollovers, all that type of stuff. So there's a training base in Camp Pendleton, Camp Lejeune, K-Bay, and in Okinawa. And at that time, the North Koreans had done something. They fired some artillery, killed a South Korean or a villager or something. And Obama was building up the military for a possible North Korean invasion war. Whatever.
North Korea, Indo-Pacific are the peer and pacing threats that we're constantly focused on.
So they sent us over. They kind of escalated our program just to make sure that the Marines that were there, if something happened, they were prepared for the East China Sea crossover, whatever. So we went over there kind of in a hurry for that, and we were going through the jungle, and somebody had said, "Dude, this guy makes leather goods here," and I was like, "He does. Let's go talk to him." So I brought in the translator, and he was showing me these bags he was making. And I was like, can you make flip-flops? And he was like, I've never made them before, like through translation. I've never made them before. And I told him I had a design in my head. We wound up working together, and the first pair of flip-flops were created. It wasn't ever supposed to be a brand. It wasn't something I was supposed to sell. It was just something for me personally. They were decent quality, but in current terms, they were low quality, but better than anything anybody else was producing. They wore out after a couple years. And then I sent the remnants of them to a few leather guys. And I said, hey, can you guys remake these? Like a guy in Alaska, a guy in Colorado. And they were like, I can make the leather part, but I don't understand the bonding the tread together and the symmetry of the foot. And like the adhesives just will not hold up, because you're bonding rubber, which is hydrophobic. It doesn't want to get wet. And then you're bonding that to leather, which loves being bonded to stuff.
Right.
So the two together, it's a super hard chemical process to figure out. Anyway, so fast forward a few years, I decided one day I just want to make them for myself. So after jiu-jitsu, I'd sit in my shop and I would just start tinkering with leather stuff. And you've seen the first pair I ever made.
Right.
And similar to probably a lot of the people watching this is, what's the difference between leather on a chair, leather on a saddle, leather in a Ferrari, a leather sofa? Like, what's the difference? Most people don't know. And there's a gigantic scale. So the leather that humans have used throughout history is called full grain vegetable tanned leather. And all that is a cowhide that the hair's been removed, and then the hide's been preserved in a soup, if you will, right? And you could use an old wooden whiskey barrel, or you could dig a hole in the ground, or get a big bladder, and you fill it full of liquid that's tannins, tree bark, roots, things like that. And that naturally preserves the leather. That's how humans have made leather for thousands and thousands of years. The Egyptians, the Romans, the Aztecs, the barbarians, all of them, cowboys, they all use vegetable tanned leather. That leather is antimicrobial. It's super strong, and it forms to the user. So think of a holster, like a cowboy holster. Everyone can relate to that. That gun over time is going to meticulously shape and mold, or that leather is going to meticulously shape and mold to the gun. And if you see a guy who has a saddle or old cowboy boots, they're perfectly fitted for him.
To him individually, right?
Only him, yeah. And what we've gotten away from in the 70s, when Nike came out with the modern running shoe, they started using more synthetic materials like vinyls and plastics and things like that. And then these big corporations get involved and they're like, dude, it's way cheaper to just use synthetics.
Right.
So if you think of Nike for a second, They'll make a shoe. Every Nike costs about $3 to $4.50 to make, max. And that's shipping, all that type of stuff. Super cheap. But a pair of Nikes can sell for $1,000, like the Travis Scotts or whoever the fucking guy is.
Right.
There's nothing that makes those more valuable. They still cost $4.50 to make.
It's manufactured scarcity.
It is.
It is.
So the materials they have enough to supply every human on Earth. It's an endless supply of synthetic materials. It goes on forever. But they built that scarcity and said they'll charge $1,000. There's no value increase to there other than you want them because we've purposely made a limited supply. With what we do, the leather we use is super rare and really expensive and hard to make. So one piece of vegetable tan leather, we get it from 2 tanneries in the U.S. They're both from around they were both started in the mid 1800s. That's how old these places are.
Holy crap.
So, they've been around since almost the Civil War, right?
Right.
And one piece of leather takes 3 months to make. 3 months to make one piece. Out of all the leather that these tanneries produce, we get to pick the best of the best. So not only do we use the best leather in the world, we pick the best supply out of the best leather. Then once it gets here, you've seen in the shop, we only take a small portion of the best leather out of the best piece of the best section. And that's how we start making our flip-flops. Then from there, we'll bring in exotics from around the world. Like the most popular one is probably elephant. And the way the elephant works is there's these parks in Africa, Zimbabwe, South Africa, and an elephant dies for whatever reason, right? Whether it's hunted, whether it's killed by another elephant, disease, poachers, whatever the reason is, the game wardens will respond. And the villagers are usually already there cutting up the elephant, taking the meat, things like that, taking the bones. And then the hide in the past, the hide was just left to rot in the sun, right? Giant pile. It looks like a bunch of if you took all the rugs out of your house and just threw them out in your yard.
Right.
Like
Yeah, because they've taken everything else out of the internals of it. So it's just this big pile of hide.
And there's no value in that, right?
Right.
No one's killing the elephant for its hide. There's no value in that either. But now that it's already dead, let's get some money back to these parks, right? So they take that hide, they turn it over to the government tags it, it has all the CITES tags, all the, all the trade tags. Then somebody like me will buy it from them. I'll buy it $7,000, $10,000, $15,000 for small pieces, whatever. And then that money directly goes back to park funding for anti-poaching, conservation efforts, things like that. If there's not that monetary circle, what happens is there's nobody to protect these parks. The poachers move in and just wipe everything out. So if you're not buying elephant products, if you're not buying giraffe, zebra, shark, there's no money going back into the system to make the whole process work. So think about rarity, right? I'm willing to bet that almost everybody watching this or listening to this has never seen a piece of elephant leather before. Most humans never have.
No.
It's that rare. But we think of diamonds as being rare. We think of gold and silver as being rare. Go to a fucking grocery store. You'll see 50 chicks with fucking diamond rings on. They're everywhere. Diamonds aren't. Diamonds, same thing. Why are they expensive? It's just another fucking bullshit thing you pull out of the ground.
We just made them expensive.
Yeah, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. They shouldn't be the price that they are. But we consider those to be, God, that's rare, right? It's gold, it's rare. This is fucking rare. Most humans, what you've seen in the shop, most humans have never seen in their life before. And no one's ever seen a collection like that of rare leathers like that before. So you can go to this company called Toehold, and you can get a pair of flip-flops that are the best made in the world out of the rarest leathers, the strongest leathers, the best craftsmanship, the best dedication to quality, and you could do it for $1,000, right? Or you could go buy a Louis Vuitton bag for your girl for $2,000 or $3,000, and it's made out of canvas. So if you look at a Louis Vuitton bag and you see like the monogram on the side, right? That's not leather. No. Everybody thinks it's leather. It's not. And it's a great material, don't get me wrong. But it's a rubber infused canvas. And then it's nicely stitched and sold for thousands of dollars. Again, there's an endless supply of that stuff. They can make as many as they want. There's lots of people in this world that have a one of one of our flip-flops, where they have like a blue shark with a piece of like rhino or something, like something rare. And that's the only pair in the entire world. So you're walking around with something that's not only made in America, that's also that you got the only one on the planet, or there's only a handful of them on the planet. And then on top of that, it molds and shapes and contours to your foot the way humans have worn footwear forever. Right? If we went back in time, like I was saying earlier, we just stopped like a Roman soldier, right?
Mm-hmm.
The strap that holds his helmet on is going to be made out of vegetable tan leather. The handle on his sword, the way his shield is bound to his arm, those gay sandals they wear, like wrapped around their ankles. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Even like with the chariots that like fucking skirt they have,
right?
With, like all that's vegetable tan. You know, it's always been like that forever. And all we did is just went back to what humans have doing forever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So think about like cooking. Humans have cooked over fire forever. All we did is we just went back to cooking over fire. That's it. And we put the dedication into it and the psychotic obsession to be the best. So think about this little American company based in Las Vegas that's ran by a 7th grade dropout that's just psychotic about being the best at stuff, right?
Right.
That little vision has grown to be a global brand worth millions of dollars, and we hold the world record for the most expensive leather flip-flops ever sold. We beat out Louis Vuitton, we beat out Fendi, we beat out Christian Dior, Hermes, all those juggernaut companies.
Mm-hmm.
We're at the top as far as the best piece ever made.
It's just absolutely wild. It's a testament to that psychotic obsession that you said, though, because you actually are producing a one-on-one. You know, you're a one-of-one producer that's actually individually formed to that person. Like, that is the value.
And then that's just the product, right? So everything I just said is just the product. Okay. That doesn't make our company great. Mm-hmm. A lot of guys will just rest off that. That, to me, now you're at the price of admission.
Right.
Now you're on the field of
That's
business.
your pay to play. That was your ticket to get into the game.
That's the bare minimum you're going to get with us, right?
Right.
The next step, what makes our company so great is I used to work for Apple. I was in senior leadership at Apple, and we always had a super high focus on the team.
How did you get into Apple with a 7th grade education?
I lied on my application. Yeah, I couldn't even tell you the colleges I made up that I said I went. Every day I was like, all right, they're going to figure out that I'm just a fucking idiot. But I mean, we ran one of the biggest stores they had.
Yeah.
We raised, I say we as a team, we raised the revenue astonishing amounts. We were highlighted in Forbes magazine. So think about Apple. Apple's the biggest company in the world, the biggest. And by all means, the best as far as systems goes. They make the craziest products, and they're the best retail location in the world.
Yeah.
So I think at the time, this is when I worked for them, we were at almost $8,000 per square foot. And number 2 was Tiffany's at like $2,800. The gap was insane. It was insane.
My Lord.
So in Forbes magazine, they called our team the kings of retail, because we were the number 1 retail team. Now, we would compete against other Apple teams, and there were some stores that were bigger than us, like the New York store. Those motherfuckers have like I had a staff of 107. They had 800 people. They have their own HR team. They're open 24/7. Like they're their own company, basically.
Right.
But the value we brought, we raised a store from like 12, 14 million, depending on what year you were looking at, to almost $100 million, just with good customer service. Right. Because we had the customers coming in, but we weren't closing the customers. Like there wasn't a good customer interaction. And there's this crazy fucking thing. It blows my mind. And I don't understand how a lot of companies are successful. So if you think of the workflow of a business, is you create a business, you create a product. Then you got to get people interested in your product. And you do that by telling people, hey guys, we have this product, right? So imagine let's go lemonade stand. You create the lemonade, right? Whatever the process is, you pick the lemons, you do all the bullshit. Now you got it in a jug. You walk out to the curb and you set it on your table. Then you make your sign and you flag people down. You tell people, lemonade, lemonade, lemonade. They pull their car over, they walk up to your stand, and you don't help them. Or you're not there. Right. That's how most companies are.
Yeah.
And I throw this challenge out on every podcast. Go to your favorite companies, whoever they are, even my friends' companies. I try to make them better. Go to your favorite company, shoot them a message. Look at your watch and watch how long it takes for them to respond to you. I guarantee you it's going to be way longer than you deserve. Way fucking longer. Whether it's an email, whether it's a text message, which they're not going to provide you, or whether it's a DM in their social media. Now, keep in mind, some companies feel like We're going to advertise to you on social media, but don't bother us there.
Right.
Call our customer service line. Email
Right.
us somewhere else. Go fuck yourself. You're messaging me right here. I'm talking to you right there.
Right.
I just seen your ad. I'm a buyer. Sell me. What do you got?
I'm interested.
I'm
Hit me
interested.
up.
What do you got?
Right.
Oh, hey, email us over here. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
You just lost it.
That mindset is insane to me. Like it literally baffles me, even beyond like the other shit that we have going on in our society. That business mindset is fucking insane.
Right.
It's insane.
Well, and that's one of the things too, like, you know, to aggrandize ourselves. Like the one thing that we do is like, if you DM us, we're going to get back to you. It's not going to take a day. Like, I don't care if I have to answer the same question a million times. That's what we do. We're open, we're honest, we're transparent. We want you to succeed and we have to engage with you.
Have you heard about our Christmas challenge?
I haven't. Let's hear
This
it.
is the best.
Oh, let's go.
So think of a company, picture a company in your mind, right? Somebody that sells something. If you sent them an email on Christmas Day, what's leading up to Christmas? People start to shut down a week.
It starts in November, dude. Like
Yeah.
you can't, like
Yeah.
it was like, even in the military for us, we're like, hey man, it's like halfway through October. We got to get stuff done right now because as soon as like, you know, the fiscal year planning is done and we've got the budget and we're good, like things shut down. Like it was a known quantity and its business is the same. But halfway through November, no, you're done. People are checked out.
Turkey and stuffing.
It's over, dog.
Until when? Probably after
halfway through January.
Exactly.
Halfway through January until people finally get back to work. Because then you got New Year's Day and there's a week of people getting back into it. And then that's when you hit the inbox and you're like, oh shit, I got 400 emails.
If you message a company, if you email's the worst way to communicate with someone.
It's terrible.
If you message a company on Christmas Day, you would expect to get a message back maybe at best. The end, let's say January 1st was Monday. Maybe Wednesday, Thursday, they get around to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll message you back within 60 seconds on Christmas Day.
Get out of here.
60 seconds. So fast that most people think it's an automated message.
Really?
Because here's the thing. We know that you're opening up your gift on Christmas Day, right? Or you got this gift card, or your wife surprised you with something, right? Or you gave your wife a bag or she got you, whatever it is. You're fucking stoked about it, right? Also, you're tired of hanging out with your family. You've been around them all fucking day. Your in-laws are there. You're going to message
that period
us
is a lawless wasteland. Like between Christmas and New Year's Day, like there's no rules. You're allowed to start drinking at 9 a.m. You can eat full meals at like 10 o'clock in the morning. You can eat dinner at 10 o'clock if you want. Nobody has any clue what time of day it is.
It's just like, it's like how COVID was.
Oh my God.
Thing.
Remember COVID? Remember that crazy?
Let's circle back to COVID, right?
Oh, I'm here for it. Let's go deep, homeboy.
So Christmas Day, you're going to shoot us a message, be like, hey, these are super sick. How do I break them in? How should I care for them? Can I get them wet? You're going to shoot us a message. It's going to ping on my phone. The only thing that pings on my phone is our work email. If I'm talking to you right now, I got my phone off during this, but this is the only time my phone's off.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
I'll stop what I'm doing. I don't care if I got chicks over, we're in the hot tub. I'm stopping what I'm doing. I'm messaging that customer back. And they're going to be like, whoa, what the fuck? Because guess what? You're stoked on your new product, right?
Right.
You want to know how to break them in. Can you wear them? What to do? Like, should I do this beforehand? And I'm going to tell you everything you need to do in real time. And then, or you want to use your gift card. You just got a $2,000 gift card. You want to use it. I'm going to show you what we have to use it on. And we just made a much better customer experience.
Right.
Because I care.
Right.
I care the most, right? That's why our company's so hard to compete with. We've had guys counterfeit us and try to copy us. But when you have to stop at the end of the day and like tuck your kids in, I'm going to get ahead. We have to drop your kids off at school, I'm going to get ahead. When you have to do when you're stressed because life is too hard, we're going to get ahead. Because the only thing we care about is producing the best products and providing the best customer service. That's it. Nothing else fucking matters.
It ain't that hard, man. Be a good dude, put out, be there for the people that depend on you.
Nobody else does it. Very few people.
It's crazy, right?
It blows my mind. I'm single and I make a lot of money. I'm the perfect customer. If you have something to sell, I'm your dream fucking customer. Because I'll drop
disposable income. I'll drop nobody to talk to about
nothing. I'll drop $8,000 on an aquarium that I don't even have room for in my fucking house. I'll give it to somebody. I'm like, fuck, this isn't fit. Take it. I'm your dream customer. The amount of people that fuck up doing business with me is shocking. It happens all the time. And then here's the other factor too. So we talked about that lemonade stand, right?
Right.
So I bought the lemonade, right? And I'm like, oh, you know what? I wanted pink lemonade. And then I'm like, hey, you know what? Instead of swapping that out for you, I could just give you your money back. That'd be crazy, right?
Why would you do that?
Exactly.
Why would you do that?
Let this sink in. If you're a CEO of a company, you own a business, whatever it is, this is what your staff is doing. You created the lemonade. You got out to the curb. You set it down. You built your sign. You got a guy to pull over. You sold it to them. They wanted to make a change. And your solution was to give them their money back instead of making the change. You didn't switch it to pink. You gave them their money back, which takes that whole process back to the beginning again.
Right.
And here's the scenario that always goes on. The motorcycle you've seen in the garage. I bought a bunch of helmets for it, for just girls with different head sizes. You know what I mean? Petite, medium, whatever. We don't do large.
Shout out. We are so fucking back. We are so fucking back, baby.
So I was like, oh, hey, you guys sent me the wrong helmet. And she was like, oh, I'm sorry about that. Would you like me to give you a refund? And I was like, you know what? Since you mentioned it, I would love that.
Right. Because now I'm going to go somewhere else.
She didn't say, I'm sorry, let me swap that for you.
Let me make this right.
So think about the CEO of that company. The CEO of that company is probably disconnected. He probably has an intern running his social media.
Right.
He has some chick paying who knows what an hour to give his money away. So he is working in these meetings, and I'm assuming it's a guy because it's a motorcycle company. But let's say fucking he, they, them, whatever the fuck it is. That is a tranny. That's a tranny fuck company. But they have somebody running the company. They're going through their marketing. They're spending tons of money on marketing, on ads, retargeting, email campaigns, workflows, all that sort of shit to get money to come in. And then you're paying somebody to send that money right back out. And think of like cattle. Let's simplify this. Let's go with like a rancher, right? You got all these cows in the field that you've been working on that you need to bring to slaughter, right? Or you need to bring to auction. You pay a bunch of cowboys to bring those cows into the stall, and then you're paying some asshole on the other end of the stall to let them out. Not all of them, but some of them.
Just a couple. No
you
big
know how
deal.
fucking stupid that is?
It's the dumbest of all time.
I don't know what CEOs do with their time.
Right.
I don't fucking know. Because our company's probably bigger than yours, even though I run it out of my house. We had a big shop, didn't need it. It's a waste of time. I hate the time I wasted driving to the shop, that was downtime. Didn't fucking need that.
Didn't need it at all.
Because I want to be able to work at midnight, 2:00 in the morning, things like that. I want to work nonstop.
You want to create. If you have an idea that you're like, I want to create now, like let's go seize the create. Get right.
We'll buy a bigger house with a bigger property so we could have like the snakes and all that sort of stuff on one side. We'll have Toehold on the other. But it all needs to be integrated. Like I need to be next to the business. So the philosophy we had at Apple is you put your best man forward. Who usually answers the phone? The secretary, right? The secretary or the intern. That to me is fucking insane.
Right.
Because who's calling you? Customers. Hey, how can I help you? Right?
Or, let me transfer you. Let me see if he's in.
And I'll use this phone. I'll use the fucking phone model. If your phone wasn't working, like Verizon, you call them up, you're like, hey, my fucking signal sucks. Fuck this. I want to switch to somebody else.
Right.
You're going to get India or the Philippines.
Right.
You'll complain. You'll get a supervisor who speaks a little bit better English. Eventually, like, fuck this, I want to cancel. You get transferred to the US. Then you're talking the cancellation department, you're talking to their best guys or the best girls, right?
Right. And they're there to sell you. They're there to keep you. They're there to offer something in return.
What if we just put that person in the front?
Efficiency.
What if?
Right away.
Then we don't have any of these problems.
Well, and then as the guy on the other end of the phone, I know that you give a shit. I know that you're not making me go through, because every single time I get transferred to someone else, my willingness to stay with that company goes down a percentage. I don't know what that percentage is, but I know that if I wanted 100% to say to you, I just need you to fix my problem.
Now, remember, we said the product is worth nothing, right?
Right.
So if our customer service sucked, but I love their flip-flops, it's not worth anything.
You're right.
You can't stay with us because you love our flip-flops.
Because you can't get through those barriers.
Because that's not worth, from a company standpoint, that's not worth anything, right? There's no value in that. You stay with us because you know we give a fuck. We care more than you, right? Your only job as a customer, even if you're like, hey, I want to do something custom, you have very little input into that. What do you want? Something patriotic? Cool, we got you. You're out of the process. Your job is just simply sit back and enjoy the process.
Right.
Enjoy the product. We're not a tattoo studio where you're like, here, I'm going to design my own tattoo. You're a fucking asshole. You have an artist who knows what they're doing.
And you bring in the Gen Z tattoos crack me up too. Here's some chicken scratch from some signature that I put, and this is what I want. And
you're not getting that from us.
Every tattoo artist is just like, fuck, another one. Oh, what do you want? An arrow with a little squiggly and a little tree and shit.
And we do tons of custom stuff, right? So you're like, hey, listen, I want to get the logo for my unit. Cool. Shoot me the logo, and you're done. That's it. You're not involved in the process anymore because you suck at making flip-flops. And you don't understand the nuances and the complexity and why you want the logo tilted sideways. You don't realize the straps are going to cover all that up, or that's the main wear part of the foot, or you don't understand any of the nuances that go into it. So the customer's not part of that design process.
Right.
The customer's just like, I want them in black. I want my unit on there. Cool. What size? Done. Here's a link. Pay for them instantaneously. Everything's done in real time. It's done. Now we take over from there. Your only job is just to enjoy them.
Oh my God.
And I don't understand how every company doesn't work that way.
Right.
So think of potential, right? So you have a business and you make $400,000 a year, and your girl's stoked and you're stoked. You could have a $3 million a year company, but you suck so bad that you're only making $400,000.
Right.
So you got to go off of potential, right? Because we don't like, dude, I make fucking $500,000 a year. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Right. But dude, you could have a $5 million a year company. You just suck so bad that that's where it's at. Right.
What do you think is the barrier for people that don't understand that? Alex Hormozy called it the idiot tax, right? Every year that you don't make $1 million, you're paying a tax, whatever that delta is between what you made this year and $1 million. That's your idiot tax, right?
So I grew up super poor, right? That's why I don't do ice baths. I fucking grew up taking cold showers. That's all we did.
We didn't have hot water. Yeah.
And guess what? I never felt better afterwards.
Right.
I always went to bed cold. It sucked, right? We grew up super poor. It was shocking how easy it was to make $1 million with no education and just simply an idea to be the best at something.
Just that psychotic obsession.
Now, $1 million is nothing to fucking scoff at. But like, you make like 25 grand in a day. It's like, it doesn't, there's nothing to it. It's not like that was easy.
Remember we talked about levels and how there's different levels of shit? You and I are on different levels.
It's weird though. My buddies, I got buddies that do like their businesses do like 200 million a year, every year after year after year.
Yeah.
And they're like, dude, I can't get over the hump. I'm like, what fucking hump, bro? You have 2 Bugattis. What are you fucking talking about? You got a yacht, 2 Bugattis. Like, what fucking hump are you talking about?
What hump are we? Where's this mythical hump? Can you do me a favor and get me to your hump?
But the money is just the byproduct.
Sure.
Because if your goal is to be excellent at something and be the best at it, just like jiu-jitsu, like I just cannot get past this fucking one thing. And that nuances of always trying to get better, always trying to be the best. So when you want to create a product or a business, the product, remember, doesn't matter. It needs to be great. It needs to be great, but you don't get any accolades for that. None. You don't get any praise for that. Now, welcome to the fucking field. Now the battle starts, right?
Right. Now, where do you separate yourself?
Exactly. And it's not fucking hard. Instantaneous communication, clear communication, and do exactly what you say you're going to do, right? Making the customer happy. Some people aren't happy, right? Our customers will tell us we have the best customer service they've ever seen. Making the customer happy is never our goal because some humans are not happy people.
Right.
Surprise and delighting them is what we do. Right. So your dog chews your straps. Right. We can't. That's not something under fucking warranty. That's crazy. We don't even have a warranty. We don't need a warranty. So I'll do whatever the fuck I want to do. So your dog chews your straps. If I put in the fine print that will cover dog chewing. Guess what? You want a new pair of straps? You're gonna have your dog. Someone will fucking manipulate that system. We're not those guys,
right?
But your dog chews your straps. You're bummed. I'm like, hey, shoot them in. Let me see what we could do. I'm gonna always replace them for free. Always. I'm not gonna tell you that though,
right?
Because then somebody will figure out a way to finger fuck that, manipulate that. Somebody will ruin it for everybody, right?
Right.
Or you're like, fuck, dude, my wife bought me these. She fucked up. She got the wrong size. I know you guys have a no refund thing. I was like, shoot them in. Let me see what we could do. You're getting a new fucking pair. Right. And if it's something rare that we don't have, you're going to get something even better. We're always going to do that. Always going to do that type of stuff. So good customer service, good communication. The communication has to be fast. If you had here's the difference with quick communication. Don't take the end result. The end result doesn't matter, right? So you call me up and you had a problem with something, right? And you're like, you know what? My flip-flops are the wrong size. If I instantaneously told you how we were going to fix it, you're stoked.
Right.
If I told you we were going to fix it, but I didn't get back to you for 2 months, You're going to be like, fuck these dudes.
You're done.
They stole my money.
That's it. You lost them.
Nothing changed except the speed of the reaction. That's the only thing that changed. The result was exactly the same, but how quickly we did it. And that's what these business owners don't realize. You have to do stuff instantaneously.
Yeah.
Stop dealing with your customers from 9 to 5. You got to be around them in a 24-hour loop or pretty close to it. And the weekends exist too. Stop acting like they don't.
Right.
Around the clock. We got guys over in like our number one customer outside the US is Canada.
Okay.
They're psychotic.
The 51st state. What's up?
Yeah. 51st.
Yeah. Congratulations. Welcome, boys. Have fun.
It's crazy how many flip-flops they buy in the winter. And we figure it's because they're dreaming of like spring or something. They're snowed in. They're like, fuck, I need it,
Right.
And they're just looking at hot chicks on our Instagram. But besides, we ship around the world, but Canada is huge and Germany is huge. Both those spots, like it's...
Well, the Germans, they love a good like product. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like those guys are great at infrastructure. There's a joke. I worked a lot with the Norwegian Special Forces teams, and a very funny joke was it
products.
Well, the Norwegians would say that we wished that the Americans had gotten in to World War II just like 2 years later. Because Hitler he only made it about halfway through with like infrastructure, so like all their highways stop about halfway through Norway.
Good highways,
exactly. It's like the funniest inside joke. Yeah. But man, they recognize a good product.
But if I didn't work on Sundays, Germans are up Monday morning there, ready to work.
9 o'clock.
I'm not accessible to them.
Right.
And we would lose that potential again. How much money could you possibly make? Not about the money. It's how optimized is your business, right? Mm-hmm. That might be $500,000 in business just because I don't work on a Sunday.
Right.
Right. So you take that aspect of it, you take all these aspects and you're like, dude, I'm running a super successful company. And that's how you really determine if you're successful or not. It's not the money. It's are you optimizing everything and providing the best service possible. Now let's talk about being made in America.
Let's go.
So I get fucking pissed when companies make stuff in America and it's not the best in the world because it lowers the brand.
Well, because you are co-opting that word. Like I am a patriot. Like I am an uncompromising, gentleman in that regard. I think is the most gracious way that I can put it. But when you co-opt that word America, that means something.
Yeah.
Like how dare you not throw your A game at this product, and then you put that word that I care
America,
for.
But shut the fuck up because your product sucks. Don't tell anybody it's made in America.
Sure.
If we got a tool, if we got a pair of scissors from China, a pair of scissors from Japan, a pair of scissors from Germany, we knew the Japanese and the German ones would be fucking rad. Right. We knew the Italian ones would look cool, but they probably wouldn't work. Right. And we know the Chinese ones would suck.
But you look at, made in China, and then your expectation is immediately lowered by orders of magnitude. You're like, it's made in China.
China does make some stuff super well.
After they steal our IP for it.
Exactly.
Sure.
They do produce some things really fucking well. The bulk of the stuff they make is cheap, disposable, and that sucks.
Shitty.
So when you make something and you put that sacred badge that is made in America on your product, and it's not the best in the world, you could take our flip-flops. We don't need to make nothing special. Like sometimes we'll make a pair, like for Joe Rogan, you're like, I'm gonna do a little extra. Can't. They're already
the best that they're
already extra.
Right.
Don't do anything special for us pair. They're already the fucking best, right? We're doing that same level of perfection for everyone's pair. You take a pair of our flip-flops, you send them to Germany, to Russia, to Korea, anywhere in the world, and you take their best engineers, their best scientists, and you set that flip-flop down in the middle of a table. You put a spotlight on it. It's dark all the way around, and all the scientists are looking at it. If they think they can make that product better, then you fucking failed.
Man,
I'll put my product against anybody else's in the world, and I have zero fucking hesitation. They can't buy better leather. They can't care more. They can't do anything that'll beat us. It's not physically, humanly, emotionally, psychologically possible to fucking beat us at that.
Well, and that's something that, we talked about scarcity and we talked about, hey, one-on-ones are cool and everything, but what you bring to the table is that the exact same pair of flip-flops that somebody's getting from you are what Joe Rogan is walking around in right now. There's not that division. Like it might be some different materials. It might be a different look because that's what Joe wanted, but it's the same quality. It's the same adherence to, and this is just a cultural thing, but man, made in America means something. And when Joe Rogan walks around in the same pair of flip-flops that I can go right now, I can go out in your shop and I can grab and I can be like, you're telling me Joe Rogan walks around in these and I can have them?
Yeah.
Man, that's making that customer feel special. That's that psychotic obsession to your craft. That's something special.
if you would have came like 3 weeks ago, we still had some remnant. We had this alligator we called the World War II alligator because it was born when World War II started. So it was like a 90-year-old alligator, right? Fucking covered in scars and marks and like all kinds of beautiful history. You can't just go get another one of those.
No.
You could buy alligator bags from Louis Vuitton or Hermes. It'll cost you $30,000. They're farm raised, which there's nothing wrong with farm raised, but there's no character to them. It just it looks plain, right? Mm-hmm. The one Rogan had this gigantic bite mark through its tail, where it's been, this thing has literally been in thousands of fights.
It's a dinosaur.
It's a dinosaur.
Terrifying.
They fight over everything.
Yeah.
So it's been in thousands of fights. You can get a pair of flip-flops with that same scar running across the tail. Rogan's is right here. Yours can be right here. You know?
Oh my God.
Or Trump's. Same thing.
Shout out to Big DJT.
So I'm always careful because you're not supposed to give politicians gifts over a certain dollar amount.
Right.
But Trump, not through us, Trump has 2 pairs of Toehold Flip-Flops.
Let's go.
Yeah. Shout out to Dana White.
Shout out to Dana White, man. He's a big listener to the podcast. So, hey, Dana, thanks for everything you're doing.
He just texted me. Let me check that.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, Dana. I didn't tell AG, but we're live right now. So thanks for coming into the show.
Speaking of cool guys down to earth, Dana White runs a multi-billion-dollar company. He's just a dude.
It's every single thing you've ever heard about him, right? Every single thing. Like, you talk to Dana White, there's people that I've been lucky enough to meet. Gordon was one of those guys. I had a chance to talk to him for 5 minutes at ADCC and just, hey, thanks for what you did for the sport and stuff like that. That guy is exactly who he is on the Joe Rogan podcast, doing the Fight Companion, as he was when I talked to him there. Gracious and nice with his time. Just seems like a down-to-earth dude from all of the experiences. Joe Rogan, same ilk. The folks that Joe Rogan is with, when you talk about Andrew Schultz or Theo Vaughn or any one of those circles, Brian Callen up here on the wall. Those guys are all the same people no matter where you talk to them.
What's crazy with Rogan is how just normal down to earth he is. And he has this insane security team and everybody wants a piece of him. And he's just a normal dude. This is as normal as can be. And I think he's the most listened to person in the world. And he might be the most well-known person besides Trump. I mean, think about more people listen to Rogan than the fucking Pope, dude.
Oh yeah. No, he smokes you just think about the new media space that really, you have to say that he's the guy that started the new media space. He was doing, other than Adam Carolla, he was doing long form interview podcasts before anybody was in that game. And the fact that he's been able to maintain that transparency and that authenticity, I'll give credit to you too. Like, the fact that we got linked up on a text, like, there's levels to it. I ain't at your level. The fact that you and I just share a couple text messages, you're like, F it, come down to the house. We'll talk.
Opposite. I'm just a normal dude that makes flip-flops.
Right.
He did all kinds of crazy shit in the military. I could have done none of that stuff.
I bet you could have. That psychotic obsession.
Everyone tried joining the military. They were like, you don't even have a GED.
Right.
I was like, nope. So, well, first off, your neck tattoo disqualified you right away.
First of all, yeah. Actually, you're good now. We changed the regs.
They change it back and forth.
The only constant in the military is change.
September 11th, I didn't have the hand tattoo, but I had this star
all the way up to your wrist.
So that was one waiver.
You're right.
The neck tattoo is a panther on this side.
Yeah.
Or this side.
It's that side.
You got the panther on that side.
I imagine it wasn't necessarily the tattoo. It was. Why did you have a chick having sex with a panther at 17?
About 17. But so these two were automatic waivers, not even to mention I didn't have a GED and all that. So they were like, bro, we got issues. You know the level of war we'd have to be at to fucking let you in?
Yeah. And that's a crazy thing too, because like as September 11th kicked, I enlisted, like I literally went to the recruiter's office, I think September 13th, I entered the process, I was gone 2 months later, right? Even at that time, and I had all my shit in a sock. Like I was ready to go. Fast forward like 2 or 3 years later, there were recruiters like, all right, you got a neck tat. Like when we're starting to talk about the surge, Iraq,
totally, the flu.
They were like, all right, listen, all those autistics that we were talking about, man, the Marines, that they farmed that fertile ground for a long time. Hilarious.
We'd have to be in like a Red Dawn situation for them to be like, all right, we'll take you, AG.
Yeah, AG,
we'll overlook all your bullshit. But typical military fashion, so they wouldn't let me join the military. Instead, I became a contractor in charge of thousands of Marines' lives.
Right. Yeah.
Typical military shit.
Listen, logic has never been a thing that we lean on in the military, right? It doesn't have to make sense. It just has to work. half the time.
So now with Doge, let's bring something up because I can never bring this up before Doge because you'd be fucking.
Thank God, canceled immediately.
You'd be considered anti-patriotic. I'm super pro-military. I think our military should be way bigger. I feel like we should fucking steamroll everybody.
Peace through strength.
We
baby.
should at one point go to war with everybody in the world just to see how it fucking would come out. I feel like we'd win.
Fuck them. No, we'd absolutely crush. The talk about like when the Canada thing kicked off, they're like, oh, well, the last time Canada and America got into a war, they burned the White House down. I'm like, bitch, you have 40 aircraft in your Air Force. I know for a fact because I've flown on like 3 of them with their dudes. We would smoke you.
Oh my God.
A small guard base in the north of America would run through Canada.
The Coast Guard and like NYPD go and destroy Canada's military. We don't need to use our military. Send the police force.
Send BORTAC.
I love Canada. Yeah. The people are great. The government's great.
Exactly.
California is great. The government sucks in California.
Best state in the nation. And I say that like, dude, the natural presentation of California.
Also, one of the most Republican places in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Let that sink. Everyone's like, California lives.
No.
Dude, there's like 5 million Republicans in California.
That shit's going red, homie. I don't know if you've been watching the analytics. It is close.
Yeah.
Like the amount of people that are leaving and coming here because they're sick of California and the governance. But you look at some of these places like Huntington Beach. Like when I went to Huntington Beach, I went there for a wedding, a beautiful wedding, the best man at my wedding. And then I was, obviously involved. I was a flower boy at his wedding. No big deal. Pretty tight. But, as I went there, I had all these preconceived notions about what it is. I looked around and I was like, I breathed a sigh of relief. I was like, holy shit, these are my people.
Yeah.
It is deep red in some of those areas. And people don't understand that it's these coastal cities. My last assignment was in Tacoma, Washington, right? So you're looking at these places. Washington is a hellscape. It's a beautiful country, or a beautiful part of the country that's just absolutely decimated by the governance in that area. But you would go out and you'd be like, what is everybody talking about? The second you got over the mountain, you went to like Eastern Washington, different world.
Oh, yeah.
Different world.
As soon as we left Seattle, you're like, dude, this is like man's country.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
So with the military, being a military contractor, we got a glimpse into the contract world. I was,
which is a deep rabbit hole.
I got into a little bit of a management role, not with writing the contracts or anything like that, but I was able to sit in on some of the meetings. And
oh, man, good for you.
If Doge gets into the military, right? If Doge gets in the military, we can cut our military spending by half and grow our military by double. Easily. There's so much corruption and finger fucking going on, but you can never say that before.
No.
Because people be like, you're dude, I'm all pro-military. I think our military should be way bigger, way more powerful. Our military's already nuts. And we got this funny thing we do in the military. I'm not in the military, but as a military, as speaking from the military, where they're always like, I don't know, man, China's getting strong. We need some more money. You're like, motherfucker.
Come on.
Give them the money. But I love the tactic. We're like, I love how we always play like we're inept to get more funding.
Hilarious.
Dude, the shit that our military has that we don't know about is nuts. But check this out. So with our contract, we had, we would kick up 20% of our contract to a phantom company. So there was a company, so we had a multi-million-dollar contract. 20% of it would go to a parent contract that in all the years I worked for them, we'd never seen, heard anything. It was just a kickback.
Right.
A 20% kickback for the contract we did, we executed, we worked, everything, staff, everything, right?
Oh, yeah.
Then when we did a rebid, we seen colonels come in, promise our contract to another company, get that contract to them, get out. That colonel worked for that company.
Oh,
but because our scope of work was so specific, we stayed. The contract company left. As staff, we stayed and we worked for the new company.
Oh, yeah. That should have it's a revolving door the entire
it's insane.
time. Bro,
it's insane.
We recorded last night. Great guy, Matt Kubler. He's awesome. He's notorious for just absolutely decimating the SEAL community for the corruption that they've seen, especially in some of the Medal of Honor conversations that are going on now.
Does anybody fucking eat their own more than like special forces guys?
Absolutely not.
It's
absolutely
crazy.
Not. Well, and you take these idiots, right? And I say that as an idiot. You take these idiots and you put them into the military in GWAT in a time of war. You make them raise their hand and volunteer once, and then they're going to go to selection and you volunteer a second time. You beat them to death for 2 years in most of these pipelines. And then when they get done, you give them a special colored hat and you're like, we're going to train you to be a savage. You are going to go 6 months of the year. We're going to force you to go fight and kill people and get in firefights. And oh, by the way, during that time, you can't drink, you can't have sex,
You can't talk to anybody. We expect you to be this warrior monk. And then you're just inserted back into America. It breeds this hyper competitive thing. Like nobody, just speaking specifically on this, we talked about the institutional resistance of this podcast. You know who the number one detractor of this project is? It's my friends. It's these motherfuckers that I have fought and bled, and some of them had died. Like we all died for the same color hat. And the number one person that'll sit here and talk shit about this podcast will be my friends that do it. Because it's that hyper competitive nature. When you tell a guy like, hey, AG, here's what we're going to do. Me and you, we're on a small team. We're going to go to a compound where we're outnumbered and we're outgunned and they know we're coming. And you have to go kill those people. And if you don't, you're going to die. And all that shit, somebody's going to fold a flag and hand it to your wife. That competitive nature never gets turned off. Yeah. And the toxicity that breeds, like they see, it's like a crab pot, man. Everybody wants to be a special operator, but the second that crab gets closer to the top of that pot, they're like, "No, fuck that guy."
Right.
And it's crazy. It's crazy, and it's something. Again, like we bemoan and like we're gonna get close to the episode 500 here. The command stood in our way. Our own friends stood in our way. All these people stood in our way. But to your credit, that psychotic obsession, like, no, we're gonna keep doing this. This is a thing that we're gonna continue to do. But you're totally right in that.
Yeah, it's wild how that works. Andy says on his podcast, he'll say on his podcast, he's like, some of the best people I ever met were special operators and some of the worst people I ever met.
Oh, yeah.
Special operators.
Oh, yeah. There's douchebags everywhere, homie. People aggrandize these special operators. You look at the fallout with Tim Kennedy and people are like, oh, he's not who he said he was and all this other stuff. And all that aside, man, why is because everybody puts them on this pedestal. Like everybody that got to that level must be the best dude and the most. No, there's tons of douchebags. We have the smallest special operations community, pararescuemen specifically, have the smallest special operations group, 4,000 or 5,000 SEALs, 4,000 or 5,000 Green Berets, Rangers are, in the, I think 8,000s or something. Man, we have like 200 dudes, right? You would think, okay, well, you're highly selected, highest attrition rate. These are all great dudes. Absolutely the fuck not. I've worked with people like the classic, like you have to be able to trust the guy with your life, your wife, and your car.
Yeah.
There's guys that I'm like, no, all three of those. I don't fucking trust you, right?
Yeah.
And you would think that we have this selection process that would vet through it. But I imagine it's the same in your business. Like the second that you started having success, I can't imagine the resistance that you had to endure.
Yeah. Well, one is it's crazy how much hate we get because people can't afford our product.
Right.
Like,
right.
Just don't buy it. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah. Great. Go buy some rainbow sandals and go fuck off.
But if you look at like our Instagram, our closest friends won't leave a comment. Sometimes they like a post, sometimes they won't, and that's our closest friends.
Bro.
Like,
so I'm on a Signal group chat, not a problem.
Let me say this real quick before I forget. Sorry to interrupt.
Go.
Granted, most of their wives will kill them if they like one of our posts.
Listen, it's problematic. I was telling the story. I was just showing my wife, hey, I'm going to record with this guy. He's awesome. We have a lot of the same connections from some of the same circles. It's going to be great. Check out this Instagram. And she's like, Aaron, who are these girls? I was like, listen, you need to pay attention to some of the other posts. Look at the craftsmanship. I'm like, it's marketing, babe. So just a word of the wise. Maybe don't show your wife.
Yeah, don't look at our Instagram around other people. Here's the thing with the Instagram.
That's one of those where you look at your phone, you're like looking at it, you're like,
we post flip-flops sometimes. They'll get like 40,000 views, right? We post a chick and like we've had posts get like 2 million views.
Right.
Also, you get tired if you follow a cooking channel, eventually you get tired of watching some dude cook, right? If you get tired of watching hot chicks, it's your problem. The problem's you, not us.
Go get your testosterone check.
Exactly.
Go work out for a little bit.
Go hit up Ways to Well, get your testosterone check, get your fucking hormones in order. But you're never going to get tired of looking at hot chicks.
Never.
And my buddy, Matt Best, remember back in the day, it was like machine gun, titties, like coffee, like there's a chick shoot like an M60, her titties were shaking. I was like, that's how Black Rifle like got their start.
100%.
Now, because they're public, I don't think they can do much of that stuff. But we'll never do that shit.
Right.
Ever. Like we'll never change our marketing. We'll add some more like behind the scenes stuff. But I've just been lucky to always be around hot chicks. So most of the time, there's a mix. Most of the time, it's just a chick I'm hanging out with or chick I'm dating. Or I'm like, here, throw this shirt on or throw this on and I'm going to film. Sometimes we'll bring somebody in we know to shoot with us. And once in a rare while, like it'll be like one of our buddies' wives or something. So like, hey, she's in super good shape for a competition because she shoot with you guys. Like, here's over, I'll shoot some content.
Sure.
Most of the time, it's just girls that I'm dating that you see in our Instagram. That's it. If people are like, dude, how do you meet these chicks? I was like, I own a flip-flop company.
What a tough life you live.
I own a flip-flop company. Chicks dig flip-flops. You want to get hot chicks, own flip-flops. Think of the modern businessman. He's not wearing a fucking suit, right? He has a nice watch, t-shirt, board shorts, and toe-hold flip-flops.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how a successful person dresses.
Right. It's the Gucci belt, right? Like expensive people, like people that are really wealthy ain't wearing a Gucci belt, homie.
Yeah.
They're not. They're wearing toe-hold flip-flops, a nice pair of jeans, and a nice fitted shirt.
And that's it. It's that simple. One quick circle back to California. So I'm from California. So let this be a warning to everybody else in the country. California, what we picture as Texas being like everything Texas is today, California was better.
Oh, yeah.
Bigger ranches, bigger farms, more freedoms. We grew up on the beach in San Diego, fishing, shooting our bows on the beach, bonfire at night, catching lobster, driving your trucks on the beach. All that stuff was allowed as a kid. Nowadays, you can't even bring certain materials onto the beach. You
And
know what I mean?
God forbid there's some fake ass pandemic that's running around. You can't even be on the beach.
All it took was for San Francisco to become super liberal, and the whole entire state,
Newsom.
full of Republicans, fell, right? All it's going to take is for Austin to keep doing Austin shit, and all of Texas will fall also.
Right.
So let that be a warning, is don't be like, just Austin's okay. They could be weird there. No. That fucking city council teams up with Portland, and they got that fucking keep Austin weird.
Oh yeah,
they got that because the city council from Austin or collabs with the city council from Portland.
It's their sister city,
and they do that same bullshit.
Yeah.
So that's how they take your whole state down, right? Yeah. Don't run for the hills. Don't just be isolated on your ranch. Yeah. Republicans have to get into small governments, right?
You're right.
We lost fucking Hollywood. We lost the banking system. We lost politics, we lost schools, we lost all that shit. We got to get the fucking local politics back.
Well, and I mean, I am the president of the Nevada chapter for Veterans for America First. We specifically find, source, and support GWAT veterans to get them in these positions next year, or the next the midterms that are going to happen really in about 18 months from now. It's our intent since we were this close with Sam Brown this year, this close, couple hundred votes. We're turning Nevada red, and everybody coming over from California. Hey, I'm sorry. Vegas is red. I'm sorry. It's going to be blood red for the next, however, as soon as we can get there. But yeah, I obviously am engaged, and I totally agree with you. We need those people in those positions because Washington is not a red state. Olympia, Seattle, and Tacoma to a lesser extent. Those three centers of gravity are all blue. That is it. The rest of the state, that is not Deus Populi.
So we've kept this podcast really professional. And if someone's gotten to this point, we should throw some controversial shit out there.
Send it. I'm here for it.
So,
deep, homeboy.
As Republicans, can we please shut the fuck up about abortion?
Right.
They're not killing Republican babies.
They're not.
Let the libs kill off their babies,
right,
and shut the fuck up about that.
Right.
Let's fund it.
Now, I am completely and totally pro-life. I disagree with that on an ideological level, but from a utilitarian level, I completely agree with you.
Think about the cancer that person grows up to be.
Right.
A liberalism isn't old school liberalism. Like Bill Maher is more like in the middle, right?
Dave Rubin, kind of that old school liberal, liberal men.
That's like, let's donate money towards this. That's different.
Right.
What there is nowadays, that's a fucking cancer that's designed to destroy our society. That's not somebody you just like, they have a difference of opinion. Bill Maher has a difference of opinion, right?
But he just
those guys, any reasonable person always is going to be in the middle at least, right? Those guys way to the left, those are a cancer and a disease to the fabric of our society. Those people need to be completely eliminated and exterminated.
It's in there. That is not a call to violence, everybody. That was hyperbole, so just calm the fuck down. Well, it's actually in, we call them liberal, but a better term is progressive. And when people say that, they're like, I want to be progressive. For progressivism to work, you need to absolutely burn down the systems that currently exist to progress onto another thing where you look at, I am an uncompromising conservative.
To me, it's a regression. Like you're regressing back to being like Sodom and Gomorrah and like just old shit that we knew in the past didn't fucking work.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you look at, it's crazy to try to reconcile the cognitive dissonance that you need for the people that right now, these leftists in the streets that are literally etching swastikas onto Teslas, and then somehow in the same breath saying that they're doing it because they're anti-fascist. It's the most retarded, ideologically inconsistent
We've all learned that there's no rationalization. They're literally lunatics.
Literally lunatics.
They
don't stand for anything, so that way everything is a lie.
We just need to get rid of that. right? So if they're
Again, not a call to violence. That's just
So-
it's something that cannot last.
yeah, metaphorically, let's get rid of them. So think about this. If that group of people want to have abortions, fucking let them.
Right.
Let them. I'll fund it. We'll set a fund.
Right.
Right.
I
A
will
portion
not-
of all
you
your
can.
flip-flops will go to hardcore leftist abortions.
All right. I love the recent trend, right? Like you see it on the girl and the guy, and I know that men and women don't exist on that side of the aisle, but when you see these people that are like, oh, I sterilized myself, because of Trump. Good. Good.
Let's do more of that.
I will outbreed you. I'm trying to. So the national average, to continue, birth rates in America is 2.6 kids, right? I'm on my fourth. I'm trying to have at least 5, maybe 6, just to make sure that I outbreed somebody and then raise them up in those cultures and values that we put our entire.
You're making my point. So
exactly,
you're breeding and they're getting negatives.
100%. And I'm here. The number one rule in politics, right? When your opponent is self-destructing, just stay out of their way.
Don't interrupt them.
I support vasectomy trucks outside of Kamala rallies. I support people that are going and sterilizing themselves because of their ideological position. Because again, I'm not doing that. I'm going to raise a whole bunch of based little kids that are going to grow up with the morals.
They're
and values.
fucking lunatics, man.
Yeah,
they're lunatics. But I think we should do that fund.
Listen, man, just because of my own stance on this, I will support the shit out of it. I will share it, but I can't donate to it. I'm sorry. Protecting children for me is my line. That is my thing. Man, I want to kind of like draw into the end here. We talked about your psychotic obsession with how it is that you approach business, the made in America. We talked about all of your adherence to these morals and values that make this great. Where do you see Toehold going? What markets? You already own it and you're already at the top of your game, but I know that you're not going to stop.
So I'm on a psychotic obsession to make the best flip-flops on earth. Every day we do something a little bit better with our flip-flops. So we want to be exactly where we are right now 5 years from now on that same path, making the best. The growth, all that stuff happens automatically. I mean, a lot of guys are like, I want to hit this number. I want to hit this. I want to hit that. So a question also asked is like, hey, how do you guys keep up the quality with your scale? Right? That's a common question.
How do you scale? Right.
Those are opposites. We keep the scale doesn't happen if the quality shifts, right? So our queue times last year, like if you ordered like in October, there was a 5-month lead time. Right now we got it down to about 2 months. Some of them are shipping in 2 weeks. Some of them are easier to make. Some of them are way more complex. A standard pair, like just the classics, 550 steps to into making one of them.
Oh, yeah.
Exotics like a Stingray, you're looking at like 1,200 steps. Far more complicated.
I can't believe you guys aren't calling that the Steve Irwin Memorial Special. I just can't believe
We've had all kinds of Steve Irwin jokes about the pair over the years. Countless.
I can imagine.
We have the funniest customers too. Like in our comments, our guys are so fucking funny. One of the like reasons if someone was like, I'll give you $100 million for Toehold, but you have to walk away, I'd be like, I'm going to miss our customers. Can't do it.
I'm going to miss.
I didn't make enough money. How much more money do you fucking need?
Right.
You know what I mean? But the quality is what stays. And if we're able to increase the quality control, it grows with it. Otherwise, production slows.
Right.
We don't need to be the biggest as far as like, not everybody needs these flip-flops. These aren't for everybody. These are for people that not everyone cares about quality. Right. Some guys want $7 flip-flops from the gas station. Get them. They're totally fine, right? Some guys want $5 throwaway sunglasses. That's totally fine. Some guys want to eat food from AM/PM.
Gas station sushi, baby.
Go get it.
Yeah.
It's not, we're not for you.
It. Go ahead.
We're for the people that only want the best stuff on the planet. That's it. If you want the best wallets, if you want the best bags for your girl, if you want I say guys can wear our bags too. You can just stuff them full of guns.
Go ahead. Yeah, believe it,
it's
bro.
A satchel like Indiana Jones.
It's a satchel.
It's a satchel. But our main focus is flip-flops. We've had endless amounts of like, dude, you guys make holsters, you guys make the flip-flops. That's what we care about.
Right.
Because the other thing that's the finite resource is the materials, all that stuff, right? But it's our staff.
Right.
Our staff is a finite resource. And
the time of that
they're so good, and the stuff they make is unbelievable. Like, and at first it was only me making them. And everybody was like, dude, it's you. How could you possibly scale this? I'm like, I'm a fucking idiot. If I could learn to do this, I invented the process, but I could teach somebody else to do it.
Sure.
So I found another guy on our, there was a jiu-jitsu guy, MMA guy. That was the most difficult, like black and white, no artistic. And I taught him over like 3 years how to do some of the steps. Like if I could get him to do this, I could get somebody artistic to do it.
Right.
And like we've had a bunch of different people on our team, great people. And the team we have now is unbelievable.
Yeah.
We have one of the best boot makers, cowboy boot makers in the world. That's one of our main guys. So we have the ability to make anything we want. Like he could make like the Hermes bags. He used to do all that type of stuff, but he's just focused entirely on flip-flops now.
But that's a credit to you, is when you attract that top tier talent, it's really a credit to the brand that you've created. It's a credit to the relentless obsession towards perfection, which you're constantly striving for. To your customer service, to everything. When you attract that top talent, it's great to have those people come in, right? Like if we had the world's best editor come in and go, hey, I would love to work with you guys. That's more of a credit to, hey, he thinks that he wants to be involved with it because he values it. When you get that feedback, it's got to feel good.
Yeah, and there's no corner cutting at all. Like there's never a situation where like, AG, I got to get these for my anniversary this week. I don't care about your anniversary. Right. Our goal is what? To make the best, right? Because we could get to the last step where I quality control everything. I monitor the whole process, but nothing leaves here. The box gets packed by me. I inspect everything carefully, right? But if it's like something's missing, they're not going out. They're going to be rushed to repair, like to be remade. You're not going to go back to the beginning of the queue, but they're not going out. You know what I mean? And I'll call you up and be like, hey, listen, this was the last pair on Earth, but let's do something better for you.
Right.
You know, but we're not going to ever send out even a pair that's 1% below average. They have to be perfect or they don't leave here. So that's always the goal. And do we lose money on that sometimes? Sometimes, but I don't care.
Right.
You know, that doesn't matter.
You have to have high unwavering standards. If you don't stand for something, then what do you stand for?
So that's like the biggest aspect of it, is never just being like, let's just be quick. If we were focused on being quick, the company would, we could get stuff out fast. We have some ready to ship stuff. So when we do a big batch, like we'll throw 2 pairs in on the end and we'll hang those up, and those are our ready to ship. So if you need something in a hurry, we have a few popular things that are already pre-made. They're called RTS, ready to ship on the website. Also, we're not a discount or sale company, right? No. Everything we do is high end, really top quality, but we will offer a discount if you're in military, law enforcement, or fire. And the reason we do that is if you're willing to die for me or my family, I'll cut you a little bit of a price break.
Right.
We've had doctors and like ER nurses ask if like I'm an ER nurse, can I get a discount? I'm like, you're going to send me a fucking bill if I go to the ER.
Right.
Like, you fight for my freedom. I'm not getting the bill for that. A cop saves my life, or a fireman pulls me out of a fire. I'm not getting a bill for that.
Right, yeah.
A nurse is, you're fucking billing me. I'm not fucking giving you a discount.
Imagine the fireman showing up to your house and being like, hey, just got a question here. There's a little tip here.
Yeah, tip.
Okay, let's get out of here. All right, cool.
But we joke about that. But yeah, so if you're in the military listening to this, veteran, shoot me a DM. Shoot me just a picture of your ID, DD214s, whatever. I'll send you our military code, and you get 10% off everything for life.
Yeah. Man, I thank you for that. First of all, like I don't speak for the entire veteran community, but that just speaks to your character, and it speaks to how into this game you actually are. Man, at the end of these things, we always ask for advice, right? And it's not just obviously you weren't a special operator. You need a GED to get there, so that was a barrier right away. I would have loved to see that ASVAB before too.
I have less education than like the average Amish kid. I think Amish drop out like in the 8th grade. I dropped out in 7th.
Oh my God. So with all that behind you, man, from your rough and tumble upbringing in San Diego and your entire backstory and the position that you are now, we have people that are listening to this right now that are trying to do something that's impossible. 91% attrition rate, and what they get by actually graduating that course is the opportunity to go get killed in some far-flung country.
Right.
They're trying to do something that they think right now is impossible. From a guy that's done the impossible and continues to do it every single day, what advice would you have for someone that's trying to pursue that dream? What would you tell that person?
Everyone, if you were in the military, you're starting so further ahead, opportunity-wise, than me. So fucking further ahead. You know what I mean? We didn't even get into this, but when I was younger, I got arrested in a in a asset forfeiture seizure and got 3 felonies that were later on dismissed. But I had to go to jail, all that sort of stuff. Got caught in one of those big police raids.
Yeah.
So I had that on my record for years. Now my record's clean. I can own guns, all that stuff. It was the cops that the federal agents that did it. They all were like, not all of them, but some of them wound up going to jail for it. They were doing this asset forfeiture. It's a long story.
Right.
I've talked about it on other podcasts before. But so I had 3 felonies like through my early 20s before the court went back and fucking dismissed all that shit for fucking wrongdoing, whatever the fuck they called it. So I had that, then the no education. So as long as you work hard and you stay focused, that's all that fucking matters. And you're not going to be successful at first, but if you do something long enough, eventually you'll be the best at it. Eventually. And when we're working in that shop and it's 125 degrees outside, I think about the buddies I knew that fucking got killed in Afghanistan, or, somebody somewhere that's doing something. I'm like, dude, I guarantee they would love to be alive right now, busting their ass in this fucking shop, right? Or when I was in jail, there's dudes I met that are doing life in fucking prison. If you ask that dude, would you like to be out, but you have to work in this hot shop, bust your ass? Anybody would say yeah. Right. So keeping the perspective is important. Knowing that it's going to suck. You're going to fucking suck a lot of dick at first to fucking get by. You're going to maybe have to eat ramen. You know what I mean? But don't let any outside distraction, and don't expect your friend network, your family, anybody around you to support you. You got to go independent. You know what I mean? Like if they support you, it's great. But if you're like, all right, I know this many people, they're going to buy my products. They're not going to. They're going to want a discount. They're going to want it for cheaper. And you just have to move forward no matter what. Find a customer base and produce something that's the best in the world. For me, we actually manufacture something. In jiu-jitsu, we're kind of a jiu-jitsu brand, but like we own our own factory for making rash guards and stuff like that. But most people, if you own a t-shirt company, you're not making your own t-shirts. Right. You're a wholesaler. Right. Somebody else makes it, you print it, you resell it to somebody else. That's fine. But if you make something, if you're going to make knives, guns, tactical, and that type of stuff, just be the best at it, right? And nobody owes you anything, right? It's cool that you were a veteran. It's cool that you were in the military, but it's not going to get you very much.
Yeah. You know what I can get for being a veteran? As long as I have $1, I can get a cup of coffee. But I better have that $1. You know what I'm saying?
Now, to me, it's worth something. And to a lot of other people, it's worth something. But to a lot of people, it's going to be worth nothing. So expect it to be worth nothing. That way, you're pleasantly surprised instead of often disappointed.
Man, AG, crushed it. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Everybody, I hope you like this one. Share it out. Go over to Toehold right now. Save your money up. Get a pair of the flip-flops. They're the best in the world, made in America. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. We'll see you next time.